Dear Soroptimists, last year, Soroptimist International adopted Her Health, Our Future as our focus theme. It represents a long-term commitment by our organization and will guide our work well beyond the current biennium. Today, we take the next step. I'm pleased to launch our first international awareness campaign under this theme. Health is one of our strategic pillars, but it is also the foundation on which the others depend. A woman in good health is best placed to learn, work, lead, and contribute to her community. That is why investing in women's health matters, not only for individuals, but for society as a whole. Women's health is a genuinely global issue. It crosses borders, cultures, and generations. The challenges differ from country to country, but the principle does not. Every woman and girl has the right to healthcare that responds to her needs. Soroptimist International has a long record of action in this area. Our members have supported screening programs and promoted mental health and well-being. They have worked to improve maternal health, expand access to clean water and sanitation, and combat diseases such as cervical and ovarian cancers that continue to claim the lives of women and girls in many parts of the world. Her Health, Our Future builds on this proud tradition while giving our work a shared global direction and a common voice. Within this broad theme, there is one area to which I would like to draw a particular attention today: gender medicine. For many years, medical research and clinical practice were based predominantly on the male body as a reference model. Much of the knowledge used to diagnose and treat patients was derived from studies involving men, with the assumption that the findings would apply equally to women. We now know that this is not always the case. Biological sex and gender influence how diseases develop, how symptoms present, how medicine acts, and how treatment could be tailored. Recognizing these differences leads to better science, better diagnosis, and better healthcare outcomes for women and, ultimately, for everyone. But this is about modern health. It is about equality. It concerns whether women receive the same quality of evidence-based healthcare as men, and whether their specific health needs are recognized, understood, and addressed. For Soroptimist International, raising awareness of gender medicine significantly advances our mission. And today, I am delighted to launch our International Medicine Awareness Campaign. The campaign aims to inform and generate dialogue among our members, within our communities, and beyond. We want Soroptimists to understand why gender medicine matters and to become confident advocates to raising awareness in their own communities, through partnership with healthcare professionals, through advocacy at the local and national levels, and through the work of our clubs and federations. To support that work, I'm pleased to announce that, following this general meeting, we will issue an open call for volunteers to join an international working group on the gender medicine campaign. The working group will help translate this campaign into practical action. It will develop resources, support federations and clubs in implementing the campaign, and encourage the exchange of ideas and good practice across our global organization. As places are limited, appointments will be made by the board, taking into account the required skills and experience, as well as appropriate geographical representation. The call for applications and the terms of reference will be available to all members on the SI website following this general meeting. Women's health deserves to be recognized, researched, and respected. Together, let us make her health, our future, more than a theme. Let us make a commitment reflected in our advocacy, our projects, and our partnerships around the world. Because when women enjoy better health, everyone benefits. And to help us to understand why gender medicine is key to achieving this, I now have the pleasure of inviting our guest speaker, Dr. Antonella Santuccione Chadha, to address us. She is the founder and CEO of the Women's Brain Project and has been instrumental in placing sex and gender differences at the center of medical research and clinical practice. And she also shares a very personal connection with Soroptimist International, one that's a particularly meaningful dimension of her being with us today. Dr. Santuccione, the floor is yours, and I hope in the meantime you could reconnect. Do we know if she has reconnected?
She is.
Oh, here I am. Sorry. I think my microphone was on mute. And first of all, I want to thank the president for this incredible introduction and the privilege to be with you here today. My name is Dr. Antonella Santuccione Chadha, and what really makes me very enthusiastic about this conversation this morning, it is the way it started with Soroptimist when I was a very young student. I was not even, I think I was 18 years old, just finishing high school, and it was Soroptimist Italy that awarded me with a fellowship to attend a course at the University of Bocconi at the time during the summertime. I was among the best students of the country, which of course I wasn't. I was just trying my luck, and the Soroptimist Italy selected me because actually the best student had to prepare for the Normale, the university, which is one of the most prestigious in the country. So I'm telling the story because it was thanks to that experience, which started when I was very young, that I realized, yes, I want to study medicine. I want to be a medical doctor. I want to be a scientist. But I think it also experience towards the Soroptimist at Bocconi sparkled my curiosity towards entrepreneurship. And I've become a social entrepreneur. When I thought about it, I think I had this serendipity just a few months ago, admitting, yes, I'm also an entrepreneur. I think I realized also that it's because of that early experience in my young age. And actually, we founded the Women's Brain Project first as an association in 2016, and we became a foundation in 2024. Our mission, as you heard from Renata, is really focused to address sex and gender precision medicine, and we've been one of the pioneering organizations in the world to speak about this unmet medical need. It was 2016 when we started. People were literally laughing at me, asking me, are you sure that it's needed? Another women organization. I said, well, this is about science. It's not about only women. It's about men and women and doing precision medicine versus what we know today being described as shallow medicine. I used to work at that time as a regulator for the Swiss Authority for Therapeutic Products Approval. And this is when I realized that there were profound differences between men and women when we were assessing drugs. And it was about efficacy, but it was also about safety. And this really brought me to the idea, okay, let's really look at the data and bring this unmet medical need at the attention of the world. In this, I have to say, again, female entrepreneurship, female mindset, the social impact that women can really bring on the table was fundamental because we started very small. Today, I think if even Soroptimist International talks about women's health, it's also because of our pioneering work. And I'm profoundly thankful because it means we finally gave the real purpose to our work and our sacrifice, because it has been sacrificing a lot of our family life, our normal life, our work life to make something on the side, which was a hobby, which was really, the buy-side project, and then became so big today. So with this, I think I gave you a little bit of introduction about myself. I want to apologize for being in a very summer outfit, but I'm in a very small, beautiful island of the Mediterranean Sea with my family. We started yesterday our vacation, but I thought this encounter with Soroptimist, it's also closing a little bit the loop in a way, especially with Soroptimist International. I have to take this call. So thanks a lot once again for inviting me. And I'm wondering whether I can go into share mode. Will this work?
It's okay. I can share the presentation if it's working on your end.
Yeah, because I'm trying now and I see the whole. Maybe I can also try this way. Can you see my slides? If you see my slides, I can present myself.
I can't see it. I can't see it at the moment.
Try once again, and otherwise you go ahead.
Okay.
Let me just remove the spotlight, Joe, and see if that works now.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
No, I think I'm not able to share.
Yeah.
So if it could be done from your side, I would very much appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay. If you could just let me know when to change the slide.
Sure. So before we go up and live with the slides, actually an additional disclosure I have to do before presenting you what we really think it's about sex and gender precision medicine. It's my other affiliation. I act as a mentor for InnoSwiss. This is the Swiss National Authority for, let's say, fostering innovation of small and medium enterprise in the country. And I'm also the vice president of EU Research, another organization that foster exchange between European granting money for public research funded, research funded by public endeavor. Next slides, please. So, first of all, I think we need to make a distinction between what we mean with sex and what we mean with gender when we discuss about determinants of health. And when it's about sex, it's about really what it's embedded and encoded in our DNA. So what we carry as humans in terms of molecules, depicted proteins, what has an impact then on our hormonal profiling, on our metabolomics, etc. While when we speak about gender, it's really the cultural construct that it is embedded in a given society or which an individual decides to, let's say, embrace. And both elements have an impact on determinants of health. I give you an example. Of course, it's by intuition to say that men and women differ at the biological level, so that the sex determinant might impact hormones, might impact how the proteins get profiled and produced in our body. But then there is the gender component. So being a caregiver, for example, which is certainly a burden for women worldwide, and women represent 80% of caregivers in the planet, has an impact on how we age, on how we disease, on how we live. Or for instance, the fact that women generally have poorer worldwide than men, so they have less access to wealth, it's another determinant of our well-being and how we disease or age. Next slides, please. The work of the Women's Brain Foundation, as I told you, was focused really to understand how sex and gender would impact medicine. And in doing that, we've created an incredible moment that it has been resulting in more than 100 of peer-reviewed scientific publications. So we brought facts and science on the table. And that's not a given. Of course, to publish and to do great science, it takes the time, but it also takes the energy and the asset that a small organization as ours has been generating over time. And of course, the interest worldwide became really, let's say, impactful. And we had also that media and press helped us in reaching this goal. Without the BBC in 2018, when we really came out and said Alzheimer's is women, I don't think we would be here today. So it was BBC, it was the Financial Times, the Independent, the coordination of multiple stakeholders working together that made women's health as it is today. And even Bill Gates acknowledge women's health. So if we have been with 10 years of work among, of course, other actors, it's not only us, but it has been a community of the pioneer of the world reaching this goal, I think we can be proud of that. Next slides, please. And the problem, why the problem started, I told you, I was working as a regulator at the agency in Switzerland. And this is when I've seen with my own eyes, while assessing the effect of drugs for the Swiss population and deciding whether to approve them or not, that there were profound differences in the efficacy and the safety profile of each of those. The problem started, nevertheless, already early in our laboratories because the science is done predominantly on a male model. Whether it's a mouse, whether it's a human, what we tend to use the most, it is the male aspects, and we've been forgetting women. And it's not just in clinical development. I want to emphasize this. We've been forgetting the female component also in preclinical science on mouse models. The question is why? Some people will come to me and tell me because it's more costly. If you have to, duplicate the number of animals to include in an experiment, the cost and the time will increase. Someone will tell me because women are more complex and they have hormonal changes. I think that none of those two justifications really explain the shallow approach that we use. Because when it's about money, I can answer and say, look, if you do precision medicine at the beginning, you will have in the end better health better health outcome, but also more financial returns because you will not have the drug get discontinued. You will have that no person is hospitalized because of side effects. So it's a cascade that will reduce also the cost for the healthcare system. And when people tell me that women are more complex because of hormonal changes, my answer is that, first of all, it's real. We have hormonal changes, so they cannot be neglected. It's not because it's complex. You choose simplicity over precision. And the other reason is also that even men have hormonal changes. It's just that we created this myth that andropause, or that when the mice fight in a cage, because that was my problem as a scientist, I had that my male mice were always fighting. It was also due to hormones, but it's this myth that hormonal complexity in women it is higher. Next one, please. I think there is one mic open. Yeah.
One moment, please, Dr. Santuccione. Caroline or Joe, could somebody please mute whoever that is?
Good.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Our apologies.
No problem. This is a big call with lots of participants from all over the world. It's more than expected. That said, here you see a report that was published by the World Economic Forum together with the McKinsey Health Institute, pointing to the fact that majority of the drugs that are withdrawn from the market, it's because they have little side effects on women. I repeat, little side effects of women, such as you have to withdraw the drug from the market. And you can see that the numbers are significant. Most of them, it's women's health risk, 21%. Then we have 6%, it's because they have it mainly high in men. Often it's not even reported, the reason why, but the fact is that it costs life, it costs money, it costs time. And it's also, as I said, private and public funds that goes into research that get wasted, because when you withdraw one drug from the market, despite of the life you've lost, it's also the billion that you have invested in research before that are lost. And so we try to always give this economic perspective to make people understand that it's not just about life, because, let me be sarcastic, women have always died. So one can say, okay, fine, women have to bear it all. No, it's also that then our economy are impacted by this. Next one, please. This is the story when it started. I think I've told you that our job began in 2016 when we did a very important meta-analysis, and we realized that Alzheimer's disease, it's predominant in women, but there are many other differences. And it's not just numbers. So more women, 70% of patients' population with Alzheimer's are female, but it's also about specific risk, lifelong, that women have higher as compared to men. So if you're born as a woman, you already have by default a higher likelihood of getting Alzheimer's lifelong. It's not just because we live those few years more than men. Some people say, oh, but women live 2-3 years more. And they say, well, that's not because of that. It's just because we accumulate lifelong risks that are embedded in our DNA, but also in our lifestyle, that will predispose us to have more Alzheimer than men. And the other truth is that when a woman gets affected by Alzheimer, the disease trajectory, the progression of the disease will be much faster in the woman versus the male population. So women have a faster cognitive decline. And the other truth is that scales and assessments that are available today to measure that cognitive decline in women are not really designed for women. Women are more verbal. So the scales that we use today, they mask the symptoms. So they go to the doctor says, well, I think you're stressed, everything is fine, come back in 6 months. And things get procrastinated to a point that when she finally is diagnosed with dementia, it's just too late. So our work is really aimed to study those characteristics, those differences, and educate the scientific community, the medical community, the drug developers, the regulators to this unmet medical need. And I repeat, we did it as a pioneering, very small organization. Next one. So we are here to close the gender gap in brain and mental diseases predominantly, but entirely in the ecosystem of medicine. This is the cover of Nature Bioengineering. And, if a scientist goes on the cover of such a journal, it's like going on Vogue. I hope you understand the analogy. Next one, please. This is a work we did with the Economist Impact Unit. And the problem is not just Alzheimer. The problem is everywhere. Multiple sclerosis impacts 80% women. Parkinson's disease has different symptoms in women than men, gets recognized later in women than in men. And there are also an increased number of young women experiencing Parkinson. We don't even know the reason why. Some people say that it's due to environmental exposure, like pollution. Some people say that it might be hormonal. The truth is that more and more younger women are experiencing early signs of Parkinson, and the symptoms for a woman differ in a way that, for instance, for a man, it's more common to have blocks. For a woman, it's more the tremor and the depression component, or gastrointestinal symptoms. And this is not really taken into account into medicine. Doctors are not educated to recognize these differences. When we speak about stroke has higher burden on women. Women that have a stroke episode will recover much poorly and much less than a man. Migraine is 80% women. Depression, 80% women. So I hope I am showing the community here listening that brain and mental diseases impact predominantly women, and have, there is a need to find solutions. Next one, please. So this is our work done also with the McKinsey Health Institute. And you see that, they came out with this report we spoke earlier, saying that 1 trillion return of investment will derive by doing research on women. 1 trillion return of investment by 2040 in GDP. Now, what we know is that out of this pot, and this is the study we did with them, published on Nature Mental Health, that 1/4 of that 1 trillion will go just for the brain of women. So we will have 250 billion, which is almost the GDP of a country like Finland, deriving from research done on this machine, showing that brain, it is the most understudied, under-recognized organ of our entire body. It's not about the bikini medicine. Often women's health has this connotation of being reproductive health and issue with our reproductive system. No, we are beyond that. We are beyond bikini medicine. We have a brain, we have a skeleton, we have muscles. We deserve to have sex and gender precision medicine entirely, including cardiovascular and oncology. Next one. This is the study that we did on Parkinson. I think I already touched those elements. Bear in mind few things. When women have Parkinson's disease symptoms, often the hormonal fluctuation, above all when they're still fertile, might impact the medication, but also the symptom of the disease. But there is also the fact that there is a bias in recognizing those symptoms in these women, so the diagnosis come later. I think I have a message. I'm not so sure if I still have the time, because I know that I had just 10 minutes. I want to know if we still have time or not.
President Renata, I think we can allow Dr. Santuccione to continue.
Okay, with pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This is a roundtable that we did in 2022, where we put the voice of the patients at the center. So what drove this publication on Nature Medicine was really the experience of women with early signs of Parkinson and describing us how the hormones, how their pregnancy was an issue to get diagnosed. One of them was pregnant when she realized my way of writing is becoming smaller and smaller. So it was micro writing, it's called. It's a symptom, right? And nobody believed her. And she couldn't anyhow get a proper diagnosis because all these examinations were putting at risk, of course, the child. She was highly pregnant, as we say in medical terms. So it shows that, a lot has to be done for women in terms of awareness, of taking women seriously, but also designing the instruments for making precise diagnosis for women. I already told you about the scales for Alzheimer's not designed for women. I can tell you more. There is the problem also of heart diseases where the instruments often are not calibrated on the size of female vessels. They are calibrated on the size of man vessels, which are just bigger. So the problem is so broad that I hope that by the time I'm dead, I will see the problem solved. But I fear there is still a lot to do. I'm not so sure that my life will cover this. That said, next one, please. This is a study that we did also at the foundation where we have been advocating with the Lancet Commission that speaks about prevention for Alzheimer and lifestyle changes to prevent Alzheimer's disease and dementia. And we said, look, you're talking about specific risk for Alzheimer. Specific risk for Alzheimer, it is social isolation. So what Soroptimist is doing, actually, it is a way to prevent dementia because you bring community together. So social isolation, it's a specific risk for Alzheimer's disease. There is ear loss, that it is a specific risk for Alzheimer's disease. It is high loss. It's about high cholesterol, hypertension, the way we eat, nutrition, right? So we told them, yes, this is true, and we can do things to change it. There are these beautiful things that reduce our individual risk of developing dementia of almost 65%, which is huge. But you have to include also one specific risk in your table, and this is being born as a woman. And why it matters, it's not only because of the medical system that keep an eye then on that, it's also because the policy will be designed differently. So it's time also to elevate this dialogue to how we develop policy for women worldwide. Because, for instance, education, it is considered as a preventative measure not to develop dementia when you're old. And we know that women worldwide access less education system, they less retained in the education system. So imagine if you can change policy and say we educate more women, we retain them in the education system lifelong and not just till university. This means you're saving their brains. So it's how to implement medical things into policy. And that's what we also do. Next one, please. This is our work, very briefly on this, showing that in a study cohort that was designed between Germany and US, we realized that women knew less about dementia, so they were less educated, they knew less about the disease. Women would be less prone to see a specialist, so they will go to a GP, they will go to a general doctor and not being referred to a specialist. And women were also, let's say, widowed more often than men. So this means that they also had less of a caregiving. And this is a complex system that explains the data from the OECD. Data from OECD shows that out of the 18 countries who provided data to the organization, not only women have more Alzheimer's, as we said it, women also are more institutionalized. It means they live more than men in elderly homes and in care homes, and they even get higher prescription of antipsychotic. This is for me a matter of concern because antipsychotic are a proxy indicator of poor standard of care. So it means we literally shut down the brain of women. First, we put them more often in an elderly home because often they have no one to care for them, but we also prescribe this very heavy medication to silence their brain. So you understand how big the problem is, and we're trying to solve it. Please, next one. Oh, this is not coming very well, but we can skip the slides. Please, next one. Here about just a few words about menopause. Perimenopausal and menopausal transition, it's a specific risk for dementia and Alzheimer. What our organization is doing, we have a beautiful project, several projects, but one of them, it is trying to understand why certain women have a good menopausal transition with no dementia, and why other women might have really bad signs of menopause and perimenopause and finally have a dementia later on. Because that's a scientific question. It's not about menopause is a reason for Alzheimer. No, it's why certain women, yes, why others not. Why for certain women, this is a specific risk for this disease, while others have it much better. And we know that estrogen, in fact, have a protective role on our brain health. This is known, but nevertheless, we need to understand more. Next one, please. Here you're seeing, for example, that early menopause or surgical menopause, let's say medically induced menopause, it's a specific risk for dementia. But to say then that hormones are really the solution to this in terms of treatments, we still have to generate additional data. Next one, please. Here, another study saying that for women, for example, when they have high cholesterol, there is a higher risk of dementia. This is associated also with the lowering of estrogen around menopause. And we know that HRT might support even the LDL profile of a woman. Of course, if you're smoking, there is a additional depletion of estrogen, and this is linked to early menopause and reduced efficacy of hormonal replacement therapy. We also know that depression, it is induced by menopause and perimenopause, and depression, it's a specific risk for dementia. So you understand, it's all a vicious circle. Next one, please. And here, finally, but not least, some good news. This is a study we did with the London School of Economics, where we have been showing that if we would increase the activity of women to the same level of men in terms of bicycling off-road, right, we will reduce the risk of dementia of 14% in them. And of course, this will have also huge economic return on the healthcare system. So I'm not talking about women doing more than men. I'm just saying, let's increase the physical activity of women to the same level of men, and we will reduce their dementia risk. When I heard my scientists telling me, Antonella, we want to do a study on cycling off-road and the impact on dementia, I said, wait a second, I'm an Alzheimer's specialist. Now you want to talk with me about cycling? When I saw the result, I was taken away. I said, okay, sometimes you have to listen to your younger colleagues and absolutely endorse this piece of research, because by doing these little policy changes, again, imagine if you make an educational campaign for women to move more, how much you're going to protect their brain. Very simple. So brain health related to movement. This is absolutely easy, and it can be done at the policy level or organizations like yours. Next one, please. This is our manifesto. I'm not so sure if you can take a picture of the small QR code that you see there at the end of the slide. But in this manifesto, we are giving 10 elements of women to empower them in terms of rethinking their brain capital. I like to speak about the female brain capital. So from Marx, when he was speaking about the capital, das Kapital, right? Now we talk about the female brain capital, because that's our biggest asset as women. My father always told me, that's the most precious things you have, use it well. And I can really, it really resonates with me. And so by doing these simple things like sleeping, like eating proper food, like movement, like reduce the level of stress, and understanding, for instance, that menopause or puberty has an impact on the female brain, then I think we can, help women much more significantly. And finally, knowledge creates equality. For me, education, it's a must. And we just said it earlier, education is also the specific factor that prevents dementia to happen. So educating women, it is a must. Next one, please. This is an educational academy that we run as an organization. If you want to join the academy and learn more about the work conducted by the Women's Brain Foundation, please feel free. Next one. This is podcast that we also do. And again, there is a QR code if you want to listen more about what I've shared with you in terms of oncology, sex and gender precision medicine in oncology, or in longevity medicine, into perimenopause and menopause, but also, more. Please just download the podcast from Spotify or Apple and these other means. Next one, please. And this is our slogan. This is our campaign. I want to close with this one, saying, yes, we want to have majority. I believe that the world should, this is my motto. My motto is that women should be led by breastfeeding mothers. And I tell you why, from a neuroscientific perspective, breastfeeding increase the level of oxytocin, which is the hormone for empathy and for long-term investment. And not about capital only, it's also about investing in greater good. I was asked by a journalist recently, how do you invest your capital? And I said, look, my biggest investment is in my kids. And I mean it, because this is the future of the world. It's not just investing on me, I'm investing on the future of this planet. So it's about schooling, etc., etc. But where I'm coming from is that I wish the world will be led by women. Provocatively, I say breastfeeding women because we have higher level of empathy, and I assume that wars, that investment, that scarcity, that poverty will be seen in a different way, at least a collective of women, but we don't want to be leading. It's in this. We don't want to lead in diseases. We don't want to lead in 80% of patients with Alzheimer's being women, 80% of caregiver unpaid or underpaid or not paid at all being women. We don't want to lead into migraine 80% female. We don't want to lead into depression 80% women. We don't want to lead in all I've shared with you this morning. And this is where, as a collective of women, we need to revert the narrative. Because, believe me, I am now devoting my life to this cause since 10 years. I'm doing this job pro bono. I'm trying to scale up my foundation. I want to make a research institute in Switzerland. But believe me when I say that I spoke with all the actors you can think of. Most of them. I think that the only people I didn't reach out yet it is Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. I still believe that the one that will fix this problem are women. For a simple reason. We all carry a bias, and topics that are dear to women will be mainly solved by women. So it's a call to action to all the women and the men, of course, on the planet to make this an obsolete problem. And before I die, make me understand, okay, my mission is accomplished. Now I can die peacefully. And sorry if I get very emotional, but it's my life. It's the life of the team of the scientists that do this work behind me that I represent here today. And I'm absolutely thankful to all the donors, to all the scientists that are supporting our cause. And of course, the Soroptimist that made maybe this also happening when I was an 18-year-old girl, sending me to an economics school, doing an internship of 2 weeks, and 50 years later realizing, yes, I'm a doctor, but also a social entrepreneur.
Thank you so much, Dr. Santuccione Chadha. I'm overwhelmed and impressed by your presentation, and I just had a look at the chat line, because we also invited Soroptimists to ask questions now. But all what I see is a big thank you and great, inspiring and open, and they're just overwhelmed as well by your presentation. I do not know, Deborah, did you see any questions coming up?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
do you still have time to answer some questions?
Absolutely. My only thing, as I said, it's very warm, so forgive me if it's 40 degrees on the island and there is no air conditioning. So
we are happy to have you.
Thank you. Thank you. So, question from Sandra Gonzalez-Scold. Do you have examples of local advocacy initiatives? And then the second part of her question is, what is your advice to us as an NGO? How can we support and maybe even replicate your mission?
This is a complex question, but a very important one. At a local level, I think that there is now more awareness on these unmet needs, but not where it should be yet. I mean, there are countries that are having best share practice, like for instance, Denmark. I think they've opened there a sex and gender precision medicine research institute, and in general, the Nordic countries on the planet, they are more familiar with this unmet need, and they have lots of advocacy in this regard. Switzerland is also doing a great job, I have to say. And when we speak about advocacy, anything can help. You know, sometimes I give talk to unexpected audience, like students, young students, and they are just blown away by the topic. They don't know. Or I speak to engineers, or we go to banks. You know, I had a wonderful gathering with one of the major financial houses in Switzerland, where I had a parterre of distinguished people, and most of them, they didn't know about the problem. So advocacy can be in any way. Of course, if you want to structure it as an organization, as Soroptimist, I mean, we ourselves are also an NGO, and I think you have to, I heard that you want to make a campaign about this unmet need. Yes, I think that's the way to go. It is about, of course, speaking the local language, the local needs, because I think that as an umbrella organization, in the end, the implementers have to be the one on site and generate a community of advocates for this unmet need and replicates in every possible context. Because as I said, the need is so big that you have to start to educate it from school to banks to bigger organizations, corporations. It's you need an army to change the problem, actually.
Thank you. Caroline, would you like to ask the next question?
Yes, we've had a lot of questions. So Liliana has said it's a remarkable presentation, but her question is, what actions should we pursue to establish ourselves as an NGO in our advocacy effort?
Well, first of all, if I have to be maybe very, how to say, ambitious and full of hopes, work with us. That will be my first answer. You know, we've done lots of advocacy. We are a small organization. We are not Soroptimist. We are a small team of scientists that, as I said, dedicate their life and their time to this unmet need. And we have developed lots of campaigns over time. One was for migrant, for example. The campaign you've seen covers, actually, the one in purple I've showed you covers 5 languages and 5 disease areas. Simple things that have an impact. And of course, an organization like yours, having so many members around the world, can really amplify what we've tried as a small, little, tiny organization of scientists. Because scientists are great in bringing the science on the table. But when about credibility, let's think about what happened with COVID, right? It was about 20, I think, in total, worldwide influenza that created a skepticism about the whole COVID vaccine campaign and how good those vaccines did for the world. So what I'm trying to tell you is that while we are very focused on the science, we need bigger organization and advocacy communities to distribute this message around the globe. I hope I've answered correctly.
Thank you. The next question is from past president of our European Federation, Caroline de May, who notes that in Europe, there is a majority of girls who are starting to study medicine. Would you expect this to benefit more focus on the gender gap that you are presenting to us today?
Yes, I think my answer is certainly yes, because as I said, you need mainly women to change this unmet need. It will be conducted, the transformation, by female hands. I say that we need female hands to rewrite medical books, and seeing that there is a higher number of medical students that are women gives me hope. There is nevertheless the big elephant in the room, which is those women not very often are supported societally and from a policy perspective to make the career to then sit into decision-making boards. And which means we invest a lot in educating medical students, female medical students, because medical education is one of the most costly in general. We managed to have a good representation of women who became doctor, and then we lose them along the way because there is motherhood, because there is the caregiving, because there is less access to, as I said, decision making. There is the gremium of the male leadership that still prefer to have male professors, male dean of university. So that's why my provocation of saying I want to see the world led by a collective of women, because we need to generate a shift if we want to solve this unmet need in terms of medicine, but in general in the whole society.
Thank you. Caroline, I'm going to ask Jalila's question next.
I thought I was going to do.
So we have a question from Jalila Mufika, who is a past president, or in fact the second president of our African Federation. And Jalila asks, in Africa, we still see significant inequalities in access to screening and care for women. Do you think the principles of gender medicine can be leveraged to improve not only research, but also the organization of health systems in resource-limited countries?
Absolutely, absolutely. And thanks for this question, because it brought to my mind a very important initiative that we've tried to undertake already since a while, but we're not succeeding yet. So I believe that the problem of less attention on women's aspect and difficulties in women accessing health, so misdiagnosis, lack of screening, late
こんな
diagnosis.
感じのいろんな服着せてあげてくれたらいいのにね。
Apologies. Our apologies. Please, could you
No
move?
problem. So I don't think that the problem is just in Africa. I think that the problem is all over the world. It's a general known fact globally. It has nothing to do with low and middle income countries versus, better position place in the world in terms of wealth. I think it is across the continents. It is worldwide. What we wanted to do, because this is a very important question, was to educate the doctor. I think it's not just about researchers. That's right. Researchers are part of the solution of the early phase. Then it's about the doctors that needs to be educated, because they see patients. They are the one that can really implement sex and gender medicine, or gender medicine. We can argue about the name. That's not the point. The point is those doctors needs to know about this unmet need. We wanted to make one forum with Medscape. Medscape, it is the biggest medical portal for medical continuous education in the world. They have 50 million doctors and healthcare professionals in the system, because we thought if we do an education content for them, then it's going to be them being the one that sees the patient and they will fix the problem, right? Because if I preach here, it may not have the direct effect of you talking to your doctors. We've tried to build this concept. We have tried to sell it to most of the pharmaceutical companies, in the world, and we still didn't find a sponsor. It's a huge endeavor. It costs a lot of money. Those campaigns are costly. This will be really, I think, one of the must. I mean, to make a program that yearly would update doctors around the world on new discoveries about sex and gender medicine. But as I said, it costs, it takes the time, and we didn't succeed yet to find a sponsor for the 2 million initiative, because that's what we're talking about. Those campaigns cost the millions.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think we could go on for hours. Your speech was so inspirational, and questions come in, but we very much appreciate that you have been here. And I think we also appreciate that you are having your vacation. So I'm sorry to interrupt here. So thank you very much.
I want to thanks President Renata Trotman. Thanks to all the other people attending this incredible event. I also would love to continue to talk for hours, and we are always available for exchanges. You know where to find us.
Yes.
All the best to Soroptimist worldwide, and keep doing the work you do, because that's important. And a big thank you also as my early self, as my young self.
Thank you. And I'm sure there will be opportunities to work together. But on behalf of Soroptimist International, so let me please officially thank you for sharing your expertise with us today. And
it's a joy.
Your presentation certainly has helped us to better understand why gender medicine matters, and why it is such an important focus for our new awareness campaign. You have inspired us to take this work forward and to raise awareness on that issue that it deserves greater attention. And we are especially grateful that you took the time to join us during your holiday. Thank you again for your generous contribution, and we wish you a wonderful vacation. Thank you, Dr. Santuccione.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you. Whew, that was something. So we are a little bit behind, but we have so much to tell and so much to discuss. And we are now moving to the to the presentation on the Soroptimist International Foundation of current and future activities. I can give the word to Kathy Cottridge, our SI Director Foundation.
Thank you, President Renata. Joe, if we could have the slides, please. Okay, so as part of SI's restructure, the SI Foundation now has a committee with representatives from each of the federations. And we have most of the committee here with us this morning. We have Jalila from SIF, Yolanda from SIA, Yitka from SIE, Joanne from Southeast Asia Pacific, and Shukla on behalf of SIGBI. So that's our new committee. The board made the decision, so if you could have the next slide, please, Joe. The board made the decision from June 2026 that applications from organisations seeking funding from the SI Foundation must have an established relationship or affiliation with Soroptimists. And this is a change that will be notified at the Charity Commission and how the foundation will operate going forward. So I'm now going to introduce you to the projects that the foundation has supported during this year, in 2026. Next slide, please, Joe. And I'd like to thank you all for your continuing donations that enable this to happen. So STEAM Wars and Beyond. This was proposed by SIL Centro from SIA Federation. STEAM Wars and Beyond is a 3-year project to help girls in a Californian rural desert border region who face high levels of poverty, food insecurity, and limited access to high-quality enrichment programs, and women in role models in high-wage careers. Each year, 150 girls aged 11 to 18 attend a STEAM and leadership conference, as well as 3 workshops have been held each year for 30 to 50 girls, and that they are held every year. So a total of 150 girls would benefit from the workshops. The conference and workshops introduce girls to women professionals, strengthen their skills, and open pathways to further education, scholarships, and leadership. Next slide, please, Joe. The Steve Sinnott Foundation, this is being supported by SI St Albans from SIGBI, and it's supporting 5 projects which address period poverty and gender-based violence to help girls stay in education. As Wendy mentioned, in 2025, 2 projects have been completed in Haiti and Nepal, and the foundation is now funding the remaining 3 projects in the Gambia, Ghana, and Sierra Leone. Next slide, please. This project builds on what was achieved with past International President Moynihan's Open Doors to a Bright Future appeal. It aims to equip 200 women with capital, financial literacy, and practical business skills. This education enables them to generate their own income, achieve financial independence, and make informed economic decisions for themselves and their families. Next slide. SI Wakiso from SIAF has developed the Health Alive program, Informed program, to support vulnerable girls and young women in Wakiso district, Uganda. At least 50 girls each year will receive training of vocational skills, life-saving and supervised caregiving skills, health education, mentorship, and career guidance. The girls will provide supervised caregiving support to elderly persons, and in doing so, the program promotes compassion, intergenerational support, and community responsibility. Next slide, please. So, At a recent event in London, SI Commonwealth representative Pat Dell met Fano Raminekasi. Fano is a businesswoman who lives in Pretoria, South Africa, but is planning to relocate to the UK. Fano currently has up to 500,000 sanitary pads and pants stored in Pretoria, which she has donated to SI. Fano's overwhelming generosity will significantly improve the lives of the girls and young women as the SI South Africa Union distributes the pads in rural areas throughout South Africa. This is an extraordinary, generous opportunity for SI. So the SI Foundation has earmarked £500 to cover storage rental until the distribution can be completed. Next slide, please. In October 2025, the board approved SI's adoption of the focus theme of women's health, which is intended to remain effective for at least 5 years. This will provide continuity and enable SI to achieve greater impact at an international level. An overarching theme of women's health underpins all SI's 5 pillars, as health projects could encompass education, empowerment, the environment, and violence against women and girls. Next slide, please. President Renata has today launched SI's first initiative under its women's health theme. As Renata announced, a working group is to be established to advance SI's new gender medicine awareness campaign. Members from across all 5 federations will be invited to apply immediately following the AGM. SI would welcome applicants with a background in medicine, public health, research, advocacy, academia, and communications, together with members who have enthusiasm for the campaign and a willingness to actively contribute. The SI Foundation will be funding the campaign's resource materials and looks forward to receiving applications from members for funding for projects that align with our exciting new campaign. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kathy. Do you have questions to Kathy regarding our activities of the foundation? Did you see one?
Don't think there's been a few questions asking for clarification on the Steam Wars project, but that's been responded to by Maria Carrillo. I don't think there are at the moment, President Renata.
Okay, thank you. In that case, we can go on and give the word to our SI Director, Berthe Vosneven. She will give us more information about advocacy.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and thank you for joining us. Next slide, please, Tajal. As we look to the future of Soroptimist International, we do so with pride in our history and confidence in what lies ahead. For more than a century, SI has been a powerful force for advocacy and action on behalf of all women and girls. And while our legacy is our foundation, it is not our destination. As the world evolves, we too must adapt to remain relevant, effective, and true to our mission. Next slide, please. That means confidentially bringing Soroptimist into the 21st century as a modern, dynamic, and influential global organization. We must engage not only our current members, but also inspire younger women seeking purpose, leadership, and opportunities to create change. By embracing innovation, digital engagement, and new ways of connecting, we can strengthen our impact and ensure SI continues to lead for generations to come. Next slide, please. Our global advocacy must continue to champion the issues that have always been at our heart: education, gender equality, and ending violence against all women and girls. At the same time, we must also lead on the emerging challenges that shape the future: artificial intelligence, digital inclusion, online safety, climate resilience, women's leadership in STEM, and decision makings are no longer issues for tomorrow. They are issues of today. Soroptimist International should be recognized as a forward-looking organization that helps shape these global decisions, ensuring that the voices and the rights of all women and girls remain at the center. Hence the reason of our presence at CSW with side and parallel events, as well as the Wisdom Forum and the AI for Good Summit last week in Geneva, with for the first time 5 side events and being involved with 16 others, visible and impactful. Next slide, please. At the UN, we have created partnership with different UN women departments and commissions with special rapporteurs and experts, as well with we have a close relationship with member states. And while the UN remains centered to SI's advocacy, our influence should extend far beyond it. We have created opportunities to strengthen relationships with the Commonwealth, regional organizations, civil society, foundations, businesses, and leaders in the private sector. Strategic partnerships allows us to broaden our reach, increase our influence, and amplify voices of all women and girls in new and meaningful ways. Next slide, please. Achieving our renewed vision requires a new culture of collaboration. We can celebrate new partnership with the International Labour Organization, and more specific with the Social Justice Coalition and the Equal Pay International Coalition, better known as EPIC, as well as with Equals, the Global Partnership for Gender Equality in the Digital Age, a part of ITU. And by moving beyond working alongside to moving together more intentionally, we have achieved our place at the table. By sharing experiences, exchanging ideas, building on successful projects and supporting each other's strength, we are accomplishing far more collectively than any of us can alone. Next slide, please. Equally important is telling your story, your projects are more effectively. Every day, Soroptimists are delivering remarkable projects that change lives. Yet, too often these successes remain known only within communities. Aren't we being the best kept secret? You must break this silence by gathering and using project information strategically at different levels. Only then we can demonstrate our impact more convincingly, strengthen our advocacy, attract new members, engage partners and donors, and increase recognition of Soroptimist International around the world. Every project contributes to our global story, and every success strengthens our collective voice. Without your excellent project work, we are nothing. These are our roots or core. Next slide, please. Our federations, regions, and unions have a vital role in this vision. Global advocacy is most effective when it reflects in regional and national actions. By encouraging federation, regions, and unions to build regional partnership, engage local governments and institutions, respond to local priority, and amplify SI's international messages, we all together create a stronger and more connective organization. Global strategy must inspire local action, while local achievements must reinforce our international influence. Next slide, please. Ultimately, our future depends on embracing the concept of one SI. We are one organization with many voices, united by a common purpose. By sharing knowledge openly, learning from each other's successes, and supporting colleagues across countries, and working with trust, transparency, and mutual respect, we strengthen not only our relationships, but also our effectiveness. Together we stand strong, and together our impact impact is multiplied. Next slide, please. The future of Soroptimist International is not simply about adapting to change. It's about leading the change. It's about being recognized as a respected, innovative, and influential global advocate for all women and girls. It's about ensuring that the next generation sees SI as an organization where they want to belong, to contribute and to lead with. Next slide, please. Soroptimist International will not be defined by the challenges before us, but how boldly we choose to respond. By embracing innovation, strengthening partnerships, working collaboratively across every level of our organization, and remaining steadfast in our commitment to all women and girls, we will ensure that SI is not only ready for the future, but that we will help shape it. Together we are stronger, and together we will make an even greater difference for all women and girls. Next slide, please. Thank you for listening. And I look forward to the future of Soroptimist International as a strong, united, and empowered global organization.
Thank you, Bert. Thank you for giving us an overview on all the work SI is doing. And it's a broad field we are working on many different areas. Thank you very much. Do you have any specific questions to Bert regarding advocacy?
I don't think there are any specific questions, President Renata. Many congratulations and agreements with Director Berta regarding project work and local project work. I think one of the most popular questions is your presentation. Can your presentation be shared, Berta? But I think we're going to respond to everybody attending today about sharing the presentation. So thank you, President Renata.
Thank you. In this case, we can move on to the next item. Soroptimist International Convention 2027 in Prague. Marit, I give you the floor.
Marit, are you with us?
I was still muted. Sorry about that. And Joe, you will have my presentation, I'm sure. And so I would start with dear SI presidents, SI board members, federation presidents, well, dear fellow Soroptimist. I am delighted that I can give you a brief update on preparations for our Soroptimist International Convention 2027 in Prague. Next slide, please. Yes, preparations are progressing well. Our website has been launched, cooperation with our professional conference organizer, PCO. Local committee is strong and planning for the program, communication and registration is well underway. Next slide, please. What makes Prague special is that this convention is being shaped by all 5 federations, each bringing its own priorities, experiences, and most important, its impact. Next slide, please. The world is changing rapidly. Women and girls continue to face challenges related to health, as we heard earlier, safety, economic opportunity, conflict, climate change, and digital realities. Prague 2027 will be a chance to come together, learn from one another, share impact, and strengthen our collective voice as Soroptimist. And don't forget, all this will be translated in over 10 languages. Next one, please. We are Soroptimist, united in purpose and action. Celebrate courageous leadership. Strengthen our global sisterhood. Open new opportunities and embrace new horizons. Secure a brighter future for all women and girls. Create lasting change for generations to come. Each of us has a story. Together we stand strong, and together we build tomorrow. Be inspired, be proud, and be the change. Join us in Prague for the Soroptimist International Convention 2027. Dream big, act boldly, and together we're strong. So as you just have seen, Prague offers a beautiful setting. But what will truly make this convention memorable is not only the city itself. It is the opportunity for all of us, for Soroptimists, for every federation, every region of the world, to connect, inspire one another, and build on the remarkable work already taking place across our global organization. And we've heard a lot already, and Berthe already mentioned our actions as well. Next slide, please. So on behalf of SI President Renate Trotman and the SI immediate past President Sue Young, the Convention Committee and the local committee in the Czech Republic, I warmly welcome each one of you to join us in Prague from the 29th of September to the 1st of October 2027. Bring your experience, bring your ideas, bring your passion for improving the lives of all women and girls. Together we will celebrate our achievements, learn from one another, and strengthen our shared commitment to create a better future. Prague will not be a convention organized by one federation. It will be a convention shaped by all five, and a truly global gathering. So I am also pleased to announce that early bird registration will open on the 1st of September 2026. In addition, we want to encourage the next generation of Soroptimists to join us. Therefore, young women under the age of 35 will be able to attend at a special reduced registration rate as part of our commitment to engaging and supporting the next generation Soroptimists. You will find more information, of course, on the convention website, which will be siconvention2027.org. And I look forward to welcome you all to Prague, where together we will demonstrate that we are indeed stronger together for all women and girls. Thank you very much. On the next page, you will see. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much, Marit, and thank you to you and your team for the hard work you're doing already now. I mean, it's a year's time, but I have seen the work is good in progress, and I'm happy that it will, and confident that it will be a great convention. Now we come to the point where we have time for open questions from all the members to any issue you would like to raise. And do so, please, on the chat line.
President Renata, I think we've actually asked many of the questions already, but again, we have more requests. Can we share the presentation? So we will respond to you all next week, because obviously we do need to check with Dr. Santuccione Chadha whether we can share her presentation, but we will of course do that, and we will be sharing a recording of both meetings as well. I think it'll probably be useful to you all if we share that as two recordings, so you can have the formal AGM and the informal meeting. So at the moment, many people looking forward to the convention as well, but I'm not seeing any further questions.
Okay, thank you. Well, time has already progressed, and I see it's noon on the continent. So I think it also time that we can close. So let me just give some final remarks. I would like to thank everyone who has joined for this second part of our AGM, and to all those who have contributed to today's program. I also appreciate the interest shown through your questions and comments, which have enriched our discussions. This morning has shown us why women's health matters so deeply, and why sex and gender must properly be recognized in medicine, research, treatment, and care. I already thank Dr. Antonella Santuccione Chadha for sharing her experience with us today and for bringing this issue to life for women and girls across the world. We have also heard about the continuing development of the SI Foundation and the project it is supporting across our federations. These examples demonstrate that Soroptimist action is practical, local, and life-changing, but that every project contributes to a much wider global story. Today's advocacy presentation has highlighted that the future of Soroptimist International depends on our willingness to adapt, collaborate, and lead. Whether through our work at the United Nations, our partnerships, our projects, or our local and national advocacy, we each have a role to play in building the SI of tomorrow. Finally, we also have looked towards Prague and the SI Convention 2027. I, of course, hope that many of you are already beginning to look forward to coming together as one global Soroptimist community. 5 federations, 1 voice, stronger together for all women and girls. This spirit carries directly into our new focus on women and health, which gives us an important opportunity to connect our 5 program pillars, strengthen our advocacy, and demonstrate the real impact of Soroptimist at every level of the organization. Thank you for your commitment, your service, and your belief in our shared mission. Together, we are stronger, and together, we will continue to make a difference for women and girls everywhere. And this concludes our program. Thank you for joining us today.